Hello, welcome to Local Anaesthetic Podcast, the most trusted name in local news. My name is Alex, and joining us via Skype, as always, is Rob. How you doing there, Rob?
Hello, folks. I'm very well, actually. Yeah, not too bad. How are you feeling, by the way?
Not good. Well, no, I'm at the end of a cold, as people can hear. I mean, I do kind of wish we had recorded when we were meant to record, because on that day my voice was Barry White levels of deepness. Having said that, nice. I do have this very nice, deep sort of baritone to my voice. It would come out nice in the podcast, I think, Rob.
I can hear it. It's reverberating through my headphones.
The thing is, Rob, is that I haven't had a cold in quite a long time, and I was due one, and I'd managed to sort of avoid colds, which really I should have got through being in close proximity to other people. So I feel like this was my dues, you know. Have you had anything over recent months? Because there's been so much going around.
I think I've had a cold which has been threatening, but I feel that I've overcome it. But then Sarah's had something that's been lingering for about 5 weeks now.
That's exactly it. That's what I had. I had about 4 to 5 weeks of feeling constantly on the cusp of something, and then it came. And when it came, Rob, it hit hard.
Right. I must admit, and maybe I feel part of me should apologise, because I did put a message up saying that this episode was going to be delayed, and I may have inferred that you caught something by hanging around the docks.
Eh? I haven't read that. What docks?
It doesn't matter. Just carry on.
Listen, Rob, what I choose to do in my private time with the seamen down there is totally up to me.
I completely agree. I'm just rubber up, Alex. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Right. Okay. Rob, do you have any news? Or I'm chomping at the bit here to get on with this. I've got some great stories.
Just one bit of news, Alex. Actually, I feel that we need to feature this because it's some nice positive feedback that I feel we should give.
You're kidding. Rather than the usual tirade of abuse we get into our mailbox every week.
Exactly. So this was from Steve. Now, I think, to be honest, we should have put it on the last episode, but I don't think it really matters. So Steve just said, I've been outside the country over the last week, and I can't remember now if we speculated that this is what he did, or he confirmed that this is what he does as a job.
He's never told us his living, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember what I guessed it was.
He definitely has.
Shoe salesman.
I think that's what we inferred. But I think I don't know, but he actually says he was attending the Funeral Works trade show, Rest in Pieces, which I'm assuming is.
He's kidding around. That's it. We said he owned a funeral parlour and he's played along. He doesn't own a funeral parlour, yeah. Rob. He's not. I don't think he does. He won't tell us what he does. He's a man of mystery. Maybe he's a spy.
Possibly.
Steve
the
spy.
This was the perfect cover for him. He just said, I've listened to episode 289, blinding episode, some fantastic stories and some exceptional research from Alex. Well done to all involved.
Oh yeah, that was the research about the cats, was it? All the cat stories.
It was. Yeah.
The cat killings.
And also,
thanks, Steve. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great episode. I think there are various episodes that I am proud of, and that was one of them. And then Kyber follows up saying, "I'm just playing catch up with a few episodes. I wonder what Rob's manic laugh at the end of the episode was, and I can't remember."
Well, it's simply that the manic laugh at the end of the episode was simply that during the episode Rob laughed like that, and I enjoyed the laugh so much that I decided to copy it into the end of the episode.
Yeah, I can't remember what it related to now. It
didn't matter what it related to. It's just a weird laugh.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. We may revisit that theme. Anything else, Rob?
No, that's it from me.
Okay. Let's get on with this. I'm going to make a confession at the beginning of this episode. I haven't killed anybody, but I would like to say that none of my stories are from local news sources this week. Now, to be fair, I probably could have gone out and found the local news versions, but I've been ill, and these stories will do. But I really have been enjoying them. This is from the Times, Rob, the Times of London. It's by Jack Malvern from October the 25th, and we return, Rob, to the theme of emotional support animals.
Oh, God. Okay.
Well, Rob, Norwegian air flight to Texas delayed at Gatwick as dogs in tutus become emotional.
Okay.
It's a brilliant headline. Norwegian air flight to Texas delayed at Gatwick as dogs in tutus become emotional.
Can I just check? Were the emotional dogs accompanied by an emotional support human?
Yeah, maybe they have their own emotional support. I don't know what it would be. Maybe an insect. Air passengers are used to thick fog or restrictive French air traffic controllers delaying their flights. A less common cause is French bulldogs wearing tutus. Nice combination of words there, Rob. French bulldogs wearing tutus.
Yeah, yeah.
The dog's emotional support animals and their owners were ejected from the Norwegian air flight to Austin, Texas, after the animals struggled to contain their emotions. The flight was delayed at Gatwick Airport for 90 minutes while they disembarked. Pets are banned from most passenger flights from Britain unless they are service animals such as guide dogs or are emotional support animals travelling to or from America. Such pets are meant to prevent flyers from suffering anxiety, stress and high blood pressure and are widely accepted in America, where there were 76,000 requests to carry them last year. I do want to put that into context. America is a population of about 302 million, something like that. 76,000 requests to carry them is a drop in the ocean in comparison to that, although we should say a very limited number of Americans actually travel abroad.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I'm kidding. Not all Americans are insular. That's not true at all. Many of them travel abroad. So it's not actually... we think of it as this sort of everybody's using them, but they're not really. But 76,000 is still a lot, but not when you compare it to the population of America.
No, I agree with that. But isn't there a staggering percentage? I'm sure it's around 50% of Americans don't actually have passports, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's one of those stats that gets wielded out but doesn't actually have any sort of factual merit.
No, that could be right, I don't know. That'd be interesting to look that up. The range of animals accepted as essential props for travel have included, as we know, Rob, kangaroos, turkeys, and a miniature horse named Flirty.
Sorry, what?
Flirty the miniature horse, Rob.
Okay.
United Airlines, which now requires a doctor's note for the animals, drew the line at Dexter, an emotional support peacock. Do you remember that, Rob? Who was considered too large for a flight from Newark, New Jersey to Los Angeles. The bird and its owners were obliged to make the journey by road instead. United Airlines has since banned many animals, Rob, including frogs, hedgehogs, goats, and any creature with tusks.
Sorry, who on earth is trying to get onto a flight with an animal that has tusks?
Can I bring an elephant on board? Walrus? No.
Can I just how? I mean, surely there is. Yeah, maybe walrus, rhinoceros. Does rhinoceros have tusks? It's more of a horn, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, you're right.
So is it just those two animals?
I'm not sure.
An elephant, or why not? Or
I want to know who's trying to bring a goat on board. In 2014,
well, I can kind of understand.
In 2014, a woman was believed to leave an American flight when Hobie, her pig, defecated in the aisle and squealed before the plane took off. A witness said that the passenger had tried to clean up her animal's mess. She was talking to it like a person, they said, saying it was being a jerk. I have no problems with babies, but this pig was letting out a howl. Rob, can you imagine the image of a woman on a flight watching her pig defecating on the aisle, screaming at the pig that it's a jerk?
Unfortunately, I can, yeah, quite easily. I'm assuming this passenger in question was also American, by any chance. Is that?
I think it's Americans who have these emotional support animals. Nobody else. They're only allowed to use them, it seems. In 2015, Jodie Smalley of Duval in Washington State took Easter, her turkey, on her flight home for Christmas. Unlike many of its species, it survived the festive period and made the return trip wearing a nappy.
I've literally got nothing.
We've missed out on some cracking stories here, Rob.
We really have.
Animals allowed on flights without an emotionally supportive role, so these are ones that don't have to be emotional support animals, right? Include 80 birds of prey that were photographed in late 2016 or early 2017 aboard an aircraft bound for Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. It's 80 birds of prey, Rob, on a flight.
But surely that's going to be a charter flight. That's not going to be like a commercial flight.
You're wrong, Rob. Airlines in the Middle East vary in their policies on birds of prey in cabins. Qatar Airways allows a maximum of 6 falcons in economy class, while Etihad permits 2 falcons per seat in first and business class.
Can I just say, 6 falcons in economy class is a great episode title.
It really is.
So are you telling me that they bring these falcons on board and just strap them in and then just bring round some complimentary teas and coffees?
Everybody likes, Rob, to bring along around their bird of prey sex animal. You're going on a trip, business trip. You need to bring your partner with you.
Do you know what? For a second there, I thought we weren't going to bring sex into the equation, but we still got there in the end.
British Airways permits guide dogs on all flights. Thank you. That's good to know. And emotional support dogs aboard flights to America. They can travel in any class provided the passenger is flying to or from America and gives 14 days notice. Airlines that allow them also include... So this is a very American phenomenon, basically. Airlines that allow them also include Air Canada, Delta, Air India, Air France, Swiss International, Turkish, Lufthansa and Alitalia. The Russian carrier Aeroflot's one of the most permissive... So they'll allow anything, Rob. They also allow polecats, ferrets, meerkats, pygmy hedgehogs and marmosets.
Right, I'm sorry, a polecat should not under any circumstance be kept as a pet.
Well,
but then also I think any animal with a tusk shouldn't be kept as a pet either.
Shouldn't be, no, yeah. The dogs on the Norwegian air flight were seen wearing the tutus while in holdalls before they were taken off the flight at Britain's second busiest airport in Crawley, West Sussex. A Norwegian air spokesman said, "The safety and security of our passengers and crew is always our number one priority." So basically the dogs were showing distress in the cabin, Rob, and that's why they had to be removed.
Why were they wearing tutus? Did they have a dance recital?
I have no idea. Some odd comments. There were 252 on the Times. We can't go through all of them. Stuart Wilson says, "Bear with me. Reminds me of an old story of a couple who wanted to smuggle a pet skunk into Australia. She said I could hide it in my knickers. He said that sounds fine. Even a body search wouldn't come up with anything untoward. Then the doubt, she says, what about the smell? Reply, think I'll have to take the chance. If it dies, it dies."
That seems like an awful long-winded way just to crowbar a joke into the comment section of the Times.
Yeah. Bob the Pom says, "Comments on this article, well worth the Times subscription alone. Great read, the comments that is." So I want to know what these great comments are, Rob.
Also, if he's paying for a subscription just to read the comments, then he needs to reassess his life choices.
I'm not sure, Rob. I enjoy comments. You know, you could just... That would be great, wouldn't it? Not to bother reading any articles, just to go around reading the comments.
Yeah, I mean, just that's an interesting premise, actually, Alex. Could you just imagine if you didn't read any of the news, you just tried to try and get try to get an idea of what the story was just through reading the comments?
Yeah, for a whole lifetime. Rob, there's one here that will interest you. Indomitable One says, "I remember a story, and I'm sure you do too, Rob, because it's an all-time classic, about an American woman who ended up flushing her emotional support hamster down the toilet, as that was the only way she could get a flight after the airline refused it to be boarded." Do you remember that story? I love that story.
Of course I remember that story. How on earth could you forget that story? I mean, yeah, bizarre. Well, I mean, yeah.
They say, why put an animal through the trauma of flight? What about their emotions? It's cruel. At least we know what's going on. It's a good point,
It's
Rob.
a good point. Yeah.
Catherine Mulvihill says, at San Diego Airport they have pet toilets next door to the men's, ladies and gender neutral ones, as well as a small area of astroturf fenced off outside for doggy doo-doos. There is no outside equivalent for men, ladies or gender neutrals though.
What do we think a pet toilet looks like? Because it sounds like it's a universal pet toilet, and I can imagine that animals defecate in different ways and maybe have, certain requirements in terms of privacy.
I have really no idea. The mind boggles. And Paul Eccles says, "Rob, what a wonderful article. My wife was crying with laughter at it. She's not laughed so much for years." I just love the idea that, she's been, in a really bad place for a number of years, but he's happy. This article has brought her out of it.
Yeah, that comment really had an undertone of despair to it.
Yeah, it really did. Although I might suggest your journalist should file their copy before they go to publication. The whole thing is just too good to be true. As you can see, Rob, it's a different quality of comments on the Times. Do you want to hear another story about a plane, Rob?
Yeah, go on.
It's by Will Stewart. It's from the Mirror, as are all the rest of my stories. It's from the 19th of October. Headline, "Drunk man wrapped in cling film by passengers as he tries to open plane door." So very similar, Rob, to some stories we've had recently.
Yeah, so very similar to the woman who tried to open the plane door thinking it was the toilet.
Yes, but only here, Rob, the crew and passengers took matters into their own hands. Terrified crew...
Why do they have cling film?
I carry cling film with me on every flight, Rob, don't you? It's an essential travel item.
Sure.
Yeah. It's for when I'm in... Basically, it's for when I'm in airport bathrooms. I always like to play that joke with the cling film over the loo seat.
Oh, well, of course. Why wouldn't you?
Especially in the animal pet toilets. It gets them every time.
Do you know why? Do you know how? Again, I don't know whether this is an urban myth, but do you know how cling film came into being?
It came into being because somebody was trying to make a cheap condom.
Would that work? Maybe a condom on elastic, just some cling film and elastic band, or a bit of sellotape, maybe.
Yeah.
I think, again, I may be wrong, and this may be an urban myth, as I said, but I believe it was first experimented with during the Vietnam War because it's a good way of keeping wounds sterile because it forms a protective barrier.
Well, that makes sense. That doesn't sound like an urban legend. Again, any listener who knows the veracity of that, please let us know. Terrified crew and tourists had to tackle a drunk passenger who tried to open the door of a plane by wrapping him up in cling film. Rob, just imagine that.
I mean, again, any experience where you're having to deal with a customer or a passenger who is obviously distressed, I think on a plane would be terrifying under any circumstance.
Yeah, it would.
But then also trying to pin them down and then wrap them in fucking cling film.
Well, Rob, it took 7 people to pin down the Russian man and restrain him before the plane made an emergency landing in Uzbekistan, which is not a place you want to make an emergency landing in.
No.
The wild hooligan, in quotes, was accused of abusing female flight attendants on a Thailand-bound plane. He was handed over to police after the aircraft landed. Incredibly, there were 2 further separate security incidents on the flight from hell once it took off again for Phuket. A blazing row between 2 drunk passengers on the no-alcohol flight led to them being forcibly separated. Then a man insisted on flouting the law and smoking in the toilet, leading him being handed over to Thai police when the Norwind Airline Boeing 777 reached Phuket. So, Rob, this was the flight from hell. First of all, a man tries to open the door mid-flight and have to wrap him in cling film. Second, 2 drunk passengers get involved in a brawl and have to be separated. And third, a man flouts every plane law by just chugging away chain smoking in the toilets. What a flight this was. If only we had been part of it.
No, Alex, at no stage would I want to be part of this.
Trouble started several hours after takeoff from Moscow when terrified passengers watched in horror as an intoxicated man in his 30s tried to open an emergency door, Rob, at 33,000 feet.
Why?
What
was he trying to do?
Elena Demidova, a TV reporter on the tourist flight, said in a video filmed on board, the first half of the flight was normal, but then I noticed strange activity among stewardesses. Can I say, Rob, strange activity among stewardesses would be a very unique episode title for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Alongside Flirty the Miniature Horse.
And the other one we had earlier. People in the cabin were whispering to each other, she said, that a doctor was called for somebody. Then, on the intercom, they asked if anybody had plastic food wrap. This was found and used to subdue the unnamed passenger. So somebody, Rob, had an industrial-sized roll of cling film.
The only thing I can think, which ironically was when I was flying back from Krabi in Thailand, there were people who I think had a lot of cling film. They were putting it around bags of rice and other produce in their cases.
Just in case.
Yeah. I wonder if that's the same thing. But you think, if it's an international flight, these are people who are going on like an hour and a half flight back to Bangkok, not making a trip from, did you say, from Moscow down to Phuket?
Yeah. Is it Phuket
Bizarre.
or Phuket?
Do you know? I don't know. I think you can pronounce it either way. I think it's Phuket, but I don't know.
Well, anyway, the reporter said suddenly the sign, fasten your seatbelts, began to flash. Why? Minutes later, the captain explained a passenger in the rear of the plane was drunk and rowdy. A doctor tried to calm him, then tougher measures were taken. They tried to use plastic food wrap to tie him up. 7 people were holding him, but nothing helped. Russian transport police confirmed that Air Hooligan, in quotes, which is a great moniker to have for the rest of your life, an Air Hooligan.
Do you not think there's a film franchise there?
Absolutely, Rob. Air Hooligan. It would be a kind of cheap comedy.
It would be, but I imagine it would be played by Jason Statham.
Maybe. Jason Statham's from Sydenham, Rob. Did you know this?
No, I can't say I did.
Yeah,
Interesting fact.
Yes, yeah. Just up the road from here. Was handed to...
Oh, hang on, Alex. So I'm going to have to stop you. No, it wouldn't be played by Jason Statham. It would be played by Jean-Claude Van Damme. Of course it would.
No, I think it would be a comedy. I think it would be Adam Sandler.
Of course. I think you need someone... No, you're right. It would be Adam Sandler.
Yeah, because it would be shit. Right. I mean, right, Rob, I'm going to finish now on a story, Rob, from the Mirror. I did question whether to read this out, but I absolutely have to, Rob. It's by Chris Kitching. I think this is a classic. By Charlotte Penketh King and Chris Kitching. It took 2 people to write, Rob. That's how good it is. The 28th of October. Prepare yourself, Rob. Anybody right now is a bit cold and has got the fire on, just, relax and take this in. Headline: Woman suffers burns and boyfriend knocked out as pillow catches fire in bed.
What? How?
Don't worry, Rob, there's quite a lot to this story. Right, a hairdresser, Rob, suffered horrific burns to her face after a pillow was set alight by a bedroom candle during a romantic getaway with her boyfriend. Now, I'm not gonna read this story in order because I actually don't believe they've reported it well in a good order. So I'm going to tell you exactly what happened.
Okay.
The disastrous evening took place on holiday in an Airbnb rental on the beach at Calwell Bay in Mumbles, Wales, on 14th of October 2016. Can I say, I'd never heard of Mumbles, Wales, but I want to go there.
Mumbles is supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to be absolutely stunning with very nice beaches.
Right. Lucy, who has only now got the guts, Rob, to talk about the ordeal, booked a romantic excursion to celebrate her partner Tom's 25th birthday. It was the same beach the landscaper, her boyfriend, had asked her to be his girlfriend 3 years before. The couple had only been staying in the beach apartment for 3 days when the accident happened. So you want to know how this happened, Rob?
Of course I do, Alex.
We'd just finished watching a movie, and Tom went to jump in the shower. I got dressed up in some lingerie I brought with me for his birthday, and tried to make the bedroom feel as romantic as possible as he showered. There was a candle in the kitchen, so I brought it into the bedroom and put it on the bedside table. We started to get intimate on the bed, and things were going to plan. I like that. Things were going to plan. Everything was lining up until we heard this weird crackling right by my head and realised the pillow had caught fire. We both jumped off the bed, and I tried to run away at the same time as Tom grabbed the pillow to throw it out of harm's way. But what happened, Rob? When he tried to throw the flaming pillow out of the room, Rob, it hit her in the face.
Of course it did.
Lucy was left with burns on her eyelid, cheek, lip and nose, and Tom then, Rob, knocked himself out when he ran into a cupboard door while trying to extinguish the flames.
Oh my God.
Rob,
Brilliant.
This is like a carry-on film. So, they're making love. The pillow catches fire. He tries to throw the flaming pillow out the window and somehow manages to throw it in her face. Then when he's running around like a headless chicken, he knocks himself out on a cupboard door.
Well, I mean, Alex, let's face it. We know that a lot of people have different fetishes. Maybe that was just one of theirs.
So, as the pillow hit me, I squealed and went into total shock as the burning sensation hit me. I was just repeating Tom's name over and over again, quietly, as if I was hyperventilating. Tom had run out the room with the pillow to put the fire out, and I felt like I'd been calling his name for ages. When I realised I had to do, with no answer, then I realised I had to do something myself. The fire melted the cushion cover and the pillow residue, melted plastic fibres and outer lining stuck like hot glue to her face, Rob.
Oh, God, that sounds painful.
Blinded and still in her lingerie, Lucy guided herself to the bathroom with her hands on the walls and felt hard lumps of dried plastic over her eyes, which she managed to remove. And then, basically, when she eventually found Tom, she found him like unconscious on the floor with a huge lump in the middle of his head, and basically he'd run into the cupboard door, which had been left slightly open. As soon as he was steady on his feet, he started to assess her burns. In that moment, we just panicked. We didn't know what to do or who to call, so naturally, I FaceTimed my mum.
As you would, absolutely. I hope she got changed first.
She used cotton wool to put cold water on her face, but said it stuck to her skin, and the pair cut their trip short to drive 2 hours to Tom's dad's house in Wallingford, Berkshire. Hoping to avoid the embarrassment of going to hospital and explaining the burns, Lucy applied cream to her face and went to bed. Rob, this is typical Britishness. She was embarrassed because this happened when they were making love and she decided not to go to hospital and decided, Rob, to apply cream to her face and go to bed.
If your burns are that bad, surely you'd think actually maybe the cream isn't going to be that effective.
Yes, well, it took 2 days, Rob, for her to go to hospital when Tom's mum took one look at her and told her she was taking her to the doctors. I looked in the mirror and felt sick. My face was all lumpy and tight. The burns had blistered up with a deep red purple hue all over them. Anyway, she went to the burns unit. Eventually they told her she might need plastic surgery. She doesn't need plastic surgery. She's actually all healed up. Which is very, very good news. She was signed off work for 3 weeks as exposure to chemicals in the salon that she works at would have been too dangerous for her recovery. She did not require plastic surgery. Miraculously, Rob, the fiery incident didn't put out the fire for Lucy and Tom's relationship. The couple are still together, but haven't been on holiday since. Lucy said, Tom felt so guilty for what happened, he kept apologising for weeks and still feels bad about it now. for throwing the burning pillow in her face. I don't blame him at all. It was a total freak accident, but I think it scared him off holidays for good, as we haven't been away anywhere since. We've not told many people about what actually happened. We lied to nearly everyone and said we were just relaxing after dinner when the pillow caught fire. I was too embarrassed to admit I was in my lingerie and what we were doing when it happened, but I've told a few hairdressing clients down the salon, and they all said it was too funny not to share, so I guess everybody will know now. Candles are officially banned from anywhere near the bedroom now, and I'll definitely not be using actual fire to set the mood ever again.
Can I make 2 points?
Of course, Rob. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, the first point is, yes, okay, I appreciate that he may feel guilty for accidentally hitting her in the face with a pillow, but at the same time, this was her fault to begin with.
Right. Because she lit some candles?
And brought into the bed. Who on earth would put a candle in the bed? If you're going to light candles, surely everyone knows, leave at least a foot perimeter in terms of anything that may be flammable. Everyone knows that. It's the first rule of lovemaking.
Rob, I've got an image of you, Partridge-esque, walking into the room one evening. Sarah's tried her best. Maybe it's a special occasion. She's got candles all around. And you're there saying, I'm sorry, this is a fire hazard. We need at least a 1 foot perimeter from the candles.
Fire safety is not a joke, Alex.
Okay, Rob, you got a story for us there, or stories?
Yeah, so I've got 2. I've got 3 stories actually. 2 are quite short though, and the third one, we'll just say it's a guessing game. I think that's the best way to put it. So my first story is from the Lincolnshire Live. It's by Emily White from yesterday. And the headline: Giant eel spotted trying to swim in the middle of Lincoln Road.
Sorry, how does an eel attempt to swim up? Surely it wouldn't get very far. I mean, you can't swim on a road.
There's been a lot of flooding recently, and this eel obviously spotted the perfect opportunity to nip into town, buy some groceries, get a copy of the Times for the comments section, obviously, and swim back home to his wife and kids. So the eel was attempting to swim at Monks Road on Saturday, October 26, by several residents who later tried to help the eel back into the water. Sharon Page took the video of the eel that's been washed into the road as the River Witham burst its banks and spilled onto nearby roads.
It'd be very hard to catch that eel, Rob, because we all know that eels are very slippery.
Well, this is...
Clingfilmed, that's what you need.
Absolutely, yeah. You wrap it in cling film and just chuck it back into the river.
To be fair, I think I would have just killed it.
Why? Why would you just kill it?
Don't know.
Right. Yeah, okay. At one point, about 4
Take it
people
home and eat
were trying
it, Rob. Some chips.
No one likes eels, apart from the people of Essex.
I've never tried eels.
No, it's not something that appeals to me, I have to say. I think it's something about the consistency of it. I can imagine it would be...
chewy?
Quite rubbery. A bit like... Yeah, chewy.
Yeah, like squid.
Yeah, absolutely. At one point, about 4 people were trying to pick it up and move it, but you can imagine this is proving difficult, hence your point. At first, I thought it was a snake. I was mortified. I had to go and see what it was. I think the eel was eventually left in the Arboretum pond, but I can't be sure. I think we're going to leave that story there. Although she does say when she saw it, it was literally outside the co-op on Monks Road. So obviously, as I said, it was about to nip inside, but it was moved along. My next story is from the Stroud News and Journal.
We haven't heard from them in a while.
No, I realise I haven't featured it in a long time, but we've had a good. There's been a lot of good stories.
We had classic stories from the Stroud News and Journal back in the day, Rob.
We did. It was a staple of this podcast at one stage. There's no journalist listed that I can see.
No, do you remember? Because they'd been taken over, hadn't they? They just had robo-journalists. They never listed the journalists' names. It's like they had this policy. We're a collective. We're a team. Nobody takes responsibility for any of these stories. Nobody takes the credit, Rob.
No, and I think I remember reading that Stroud is also the first carbon-neutral town in the UK.
It doesn't surprise me.
It's that kind of place. It's very sort of... it's just that sort of place, really.
Wanky.
It's the kind of place that I can imagine that Extinction Rebellion started. It's very sort of... Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Warning issue after horse's mane cut on common in bizarre incident.
Right.
A horse on the common has had its mane cut in a bizarre incident which could leave him highly susceptible to eye infections.
Why? Eh? Is this all they've got to report on down there? A horse
yes.
has had its mane cut in acts of horse mane vandalism.
Alex, you have to realise, as we've already said, this is a town that cares about the environment, it cares about its local wildlife, and this is headline stuff.
Okay, right.
The incident involved a horse called Hercules. Posting on Facebook, community page Kill Your Speed, Not Us, wrote, Hercules the horse has been attacked with a pair of scissors. Suddenly he looks like he's been on a visit to a partially sighted hairdresser in a dark salon. This is serious as he suffers from eye infections. His long mane helps him combat this and regularly reduces infections.
How? How does it do that?
Because his mane stops, I suppose insects.
It might be the
getting into his
cause of the eye
eyes.
infections. Maybe there are fleas getting in there causing these infections. For all we know, it might clear up with his mane cut.
Well,
anyway, maybe
do.
he wanted his haircut. Maybe he took himself off down the salon and asked for said, I want this ponytail removed. Get it?
Yeah. Also, can I just say, it wouldn't surprise me again if there was this vigilante group that's giving haircuts to horses in the Gloucester area.
Rob, we're going to start a charitable foundation right now. Haircuts for horses.
Yes, for wild horses that have been neglected by the roadside.
Yes. Not to be
Beautiful.
confused with Help for Heroes. Haircuts for horses.
Those are two very different charities.
Yeah, they're two very different charities.
Although I think we should use the same branding and see if anyone notices.
No, Rob, our logo will be a horseshoe.
Of course it would. A horseshoe with a pair of scissors across it.
Yes. The crest.
This is all coming together. His owner John said that if this continues to happen, he will have to put him to sleep for his own welfare.
Hang on, whoa, that escalated quickly. Hang on a minute. You've got no proof that cutting his hair is going to lead to increased eye infections. And also, you don't put down a horse because it gets eye infections.
No.
Somebody's cut his hair again, right, that's it. And you just stab him.
This is the final straw, I've had enough!
Right, it's for your own good, and he just slits its neck, Rob.
With a pair of scissors, the final ironic death. And then the comment says, so please do not cut any more ponies' manes on the common.
Sorry, let's just stop, Rob. Stop.
Well, yeah.
You need to take a step back. This man, Rob, has basically threatened the local community that if this happens again, he's going to kill a horse. This is the ultimate blackmail. I understand he didn't want his haircut, but to say that's like saying... What's it like saying, Rob? It's like saying if you graffiti my house again, I'm going to set fire to it.
Yeah, basically.
Or bring it down in a controlled demolition.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it is his horse, so he can say this, but it does seem
you
to be
can't just
bizarre.
kill your own horse. I don't think the RSPCA would be happy. Why did you put down this horse so well? It kept getting eye infections.
But I mean, if we strip this back to
my horse.
If we do strip this back, he's saying, look, if you continue to give my horse a haircut, I'll be left with no option but to kill it. It's bizarre.
This guy,
really is bizarre.
what's wrong with this man? I think he's very possessive. Look, Rob, he's obviously in a romantic relationship with this horse. He's very possessive. He's very jealous. He doesn't want anybody. What he doesn't understand is this. I think this horse is trying to break free of this cruel relationship.
Yeah.
It went out to get a nice haircut, some highlights, a new do, because they're trying to build their confidence. And what does he do? He comes in and says, no, you get your haircut again, you're getting put down.
Do you know what? I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Yeah.
What? Accusing this man of having an abusive relationship with a horse? I apologise. That was said for comedy effect. I'm not, disparaging your name or character at all.
We don't know this horse.
Legally or otherwise.
This horse may be trying to, start a new life. He's got a new haircut. As you said, it feels better about itself. It's just trying to move on, Alex.
Yeah, but only over the threat of his shoulder is this guy with a great big fat syringe all the time.
Yeah. So it goes on to say, as I said, please do not cut any more ponies' manes on the common. If you see anyone doing it, please tell them to stop immediately.
But is this his horse, Rob? Aren't these just natural horses?
Wait, the article says his owner John.
Huh?
The article says his owner John
Right.
said that if this continues to happen, we'll have to put him to sleep.
We'll have to take matters into our own hands and kill the horse. Can you imagine, like, this live, we see in a month, this live news broadcast, like Sky News cuts to it. It's a man in a field with a knife, holding a knife to a horse's neck, just shouting, "You made me do this!" They have to bring in the police and shoot him.
In this day and age, Alex, anything's possible. There is. I'm just going to read one comment, which I think again may be probably not far from the truth. So, Busted Flush simply says, "Sounds like Hercules may be becoming too expensive for his owner."
Yeah. Whoa, that is fucking true. That isn't it?
Yeah, he's had enough of taking
So hang on,
the horse.
he cut the hair himself, Rob. He cut the hair himself because he's had enough of this horse. He's going to do it again. Then he's going to kill the horse and say, "See, I told you this would happen."
Oh shit! Yeah, he's right, isn't he? That's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, no, legally and in other way, no, he's not right. But just to be clear.
But if it does happen, then we called it first. Well, actually, to be fair, Busted Flush called it first. But anyway, right, quick story. So this is from the Mirror. I know that Mirror's got a lot of coverage recently. This story is by
Mirror.
Thomas...
I mean, what is going on? The Mirror have taken over. What the Mirror have done, which is quite clever, is they've started to source these stories and report on them that local news stories used to do. The Mirror have moved into this area a lot. Do you know what they've also done that's been quite clever? They have stories every week. Basically, they have somebody in the Mirror, from what I've been able to tell, who trawls Reddit for funny stories that people have told about something that's happened to their partner or whatever, and they print them.
Yeah, and I think if they don't print them, they just pass them off to the Daily Star, who then just prints it without comment.
Exactly.
The story's from the 20th of October by Thomas Amore and Zoe Forsey. I think we've had Zoe Forsey before. So the headline is "Weird and Wonderful Things Left Behind by People Selling Cars." And Alex, I'm not going to read the story. I just want to see if you can guess any of the items that have been left behind.
A fully inflated rubber dinghy.
Oh my god, you are so close there.
Or one of those rings that you wear in a pool. Or Lilo.
It's not. I mean, technically, it is an inflatable. It's an inflatable man.
What is that? A sex doll thing?
Yeah, a sex doll. Yeah, it was left behind.
I didn't know you could get a male version of that.
Yeah, you should look them up.
Yeah, I will.
In your own time, not during the podcast. Anything else?
Can you get a horse?
We can get a horse off the common if you want one. I don't think John wants any more. Right,
I'll live with the eye infections.
Oh, fair enough.
I'll put sunglasses on him.
Ooh, sexy. I should probably clarify that horse and sunglasses, I do not find that image sexy.
Well, I think, Rob, it's clear that you do. So move on.
And yeah. So what else have people found in used cars that have been sold on? Now I'll give you some clues.
5 dead sheep.
No. So that there's some foodstuffs in here. There's
10 boxes of onion rings.
Oh, that's a lovely guess. No, there's
it's too specific, I think.
There's a tin of baked beans at 4 years out of date.
Oh, that's fine.
What else? I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go through them. So, a blood transfusion machine. You'd hope that someone may recognise that's gone missing. A box of human ashes.
A box of human ashes?
Yeah. I'm guessing, from a crematorium, the remains of someone.
I've got a guess. A booklet of food bank vouchers signed by David Cameron.
That's very oddly specific. No. Although
Can we have that as I like that as an episode title: a booklet of food bank vouchers signed by David Cameron. Good luck in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Someone found an
shiny chinned turd.
Human. Well, that's close.
What, a shiny chinned turd?
Well, someone found someone was left with a car full of horse manure.
Right.
Which sounds more like that. That sounds deliberate to me, if you ask me. Also, £10,000 in cash. A pack of 20 shotgun shells.
Oh, whoa.
Okay. Slightly almost. An unused microwave. And,
unused?
Yeah.
How could you forget to leave this in the car that you're selling? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's a good one. And the one that I think makes me slightly suspicious, an ex-fiance's engagement ring attached to a spare key.
What the? What makes you? Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, I don't know. It just feels like there's a sex connection there, which is also the name of my first album, Sex Connection. On the front, it's just a horse in sunglasses.
Can I say? I think your artist name should be Air Hooligan, and your
yes, it should.
The name of your album should be Sex Connection.
What is it about the phrase "sex connection" that makes me cringe?
And I do believe that the front cover should be a massive blown-up image of David Cameron's face,
and his shiny turd-faced chin.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Rob. You got a story? No. What's wrong with me? It's time for our listener story of the week, or I believe this week it's stories, Rob, as in the plural.
It is, yeah. So I'm going to feature two stories from the same person, but I thought I'd like to do two. I mean, because they're both from the same paper. They're both.
Is it the K-Man?
It is the K-Man, indeed. Yes.
Kyber.
First time we've used that nickname. It's interesting. It's from the Derbyshire Live website. Both of them. The first story is from the 14th of October by Noah Martin. Interesting name there. And the headline: Derby man claims mashed potato on toast.
Sorry, Rob, stop. Why is Noah Martin an interesting name?
I think you don't hear a lot of Noahs, that's why.
Don't you? I believe
No.
Tom York's son is called Noah.
No, that doesn't surprise me. I don't know why. Yeah.
Anyway.
Good for him. So, Derby man claims mashed potato on toast is a culinary classic.
It's a lot of carbs, isn't it?
It's a lot of carbs, yeah.
I don't mind carbs. I've got no problem with carbs. And I think people who do are a bit odd.
Fair enough. A Derby man has publicly and shamelessly confessed to enjoying mashed potato on toast as a meal.
Well, this is. I mean, look, it sounds funny to us, but this is normal in Derby.
Absolutely.
Let's think of what other combinations there would be. I think what's quite typical there is it's a plate with three different foodstuffs on it. One, Rob, is a jacket potato, so you have that on one side of the plate. Next to it, you have a portion of chips, and next to that, you have a portion of crisps. It's the potato special.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I don't know why. I think that around this era, I can imagine that sausages dipped in jam would be a delicacy.
Yeah, Rob, that's out of a lot of people's reach. You shouldn't have mentioned that, Rob. Make a lot of people feel bad. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm aware that it happens, and I know that it's for the higher echelons of society, so I can only apologise.
Do you like dipping your sausages in jam, Rob?
I used to until the wasps.
Right. Okay.
Rolls-Royce worker Chris describes the
Rolls-Royce worker.
Yes, he works for Rolls-Royce.
Is that where the plant is in Derbyshire?
Well, I thought the plant used to be in Crewe, but maybe it's moved. I don't know.
Right.
But
okay.
yeah. Now, I'm not assuming he's a test driver. I don't know why. I'm assuming he works on the production line. Is that?
It's not a good advert, this, for Rolls-Royce, is it, though? When one of your factory workers is saying that what he has to live on at home is mash on toast.
But this is
conservative Britain, Rob.
Why
are you going to a food bank and scrounging off the state when you could be having mash on toast?
Absolutely.
For God's sake.
All you need to do is get some dirty, not dirty, that's the wrong word. Get some mighty white bread, which I don't know is probably about 50p. Get some smash, which is going to last you at least a few decades, and that's it. You've got a meal fit for a man.
Indeed.
I also like the idea that he's making this at home and then taking it onto the production line and just sitting in a Rolls Royce eating this concoction.
Living the dream, Rob.
Absolutely, yeah. The dream he can never afford. Chris describes the concoction as a culinary classic.
I might try it. It does sound interesting.
Does it?
Yes. I like mash. I like toast. What's the problem?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm the same. By the way, my other half loves mashed potato, and I can't stress that enough.
Does she live on it, Rob?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I think she would have it with majority of meals.
Wow.
Yeah, but then she's from the north, so, what can you expect? So, yeah, it describes it as a culinary classic. Mashed potato on toast, no gravy required. Now, that's an interesting choice, Alex.
Rob, does your wife enjoy the programme MASH as well?
I don't think she's ever seen
That'd
it.
be really... Buy the box set and say, I know you like MASH, so I got you this.
Yeah, trying to sit down in front of a 1970s comedy about the Vietnam War.
Exactly. That's a good episode title, Rob. A 1970s sitcom about the horrors of the Vietnam War. Whatever you
said. and not potato. Anyway, although I have to say his decision to publish this has proved divisive. The chef's masterpiece pulls together 3 staples of the British diet in a combination with enough carbs to make Bodger and Badger weep.
What are the 3 things? Because so far I only had mash and toast.
So it consists of a layer of mashed potato on a bed of buttered white toast, all crowned with a sprinkling of cheese.
Oh my god, that sounds delicious.
It doesn't sound. Yeah,
it's the cheese now. Now I'm understanding what motivates this strange man.
Yeah. Unsurprisingly, Chris's Facebook post caused quite a furore with people jumping to share his delight or disgust. One of his friends described it as a crazy vomit carb fest too far.
Another good episode title, a crazy vomit carb, whatever that was. A crazy vomit fest carb too far.
Yep. Another said, I'm sorry, but mashed potato needs gravy. Another Facebook user felt completely lost for words, saying, that's what... nope, never mind. Just no. A fine meal would be nothing without a fine wine, and suggestions to accompany mash on toast included Lambrusco and, less appetizingly, paraffin.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So, I'm going to leave that story there and move on because I'm conscious of time. So, the second story is from... Now, this is happening more and more. So, this is from Paige Oldfield, who, again, is a trainee reporter.
What paper? Derbyshire again.
I lost you there. I can't hear you, Alex.
What? Can you hear me?
There we are. Yeah.
What paper?
Also from the Derbyshire Live.
Okay, let's hear it. Come on.
Passengers sorry after breaking wind on Derby bus. A Derby passenger apologised.
Have they been pilloried by the community, have they? I mean, again, I would have thought this was a standard thing there.
No, I think
Everyone
what's happened is... Well, yeah, but I think his was so offensive that he felt he needed to post something online just to apologise.
Right.
It's a nice
I don't
thing
know
to do,
if
Alex.
I should tell this story. Should I tell a story that's very personally embarrassing? I don't know. I mean, obviously you're going to say yes.
Yeah, I think.
I remember once, many years ago, I had a very upset. I'd obviously had some kind of food poisoning or something, and I remember I was in. I mean, we're talking over a decade ago, and where I was working at. I was in the cubicles, and I was, I had to do a number 2 rather urgently, and there was somebody in the cubicle next to me I could hear. Anyway, when you can hear the person next to you, you can hear them doing the toilet roll, Rob.
Yeah,
and you can hear them sort of wiping, whatever. All the noises, the toilet noises, and you hear him flush. But I could hear he was in a hurry to get out of there quite quickly, and all I heard was him rattling the lock to get out and open that cubicle door quickly. And as he left, I just heard, as he was going out the cubicle, all I heard was him say to me. I mean, obviously he couldn't see me just through the cubicle door. "Oi, mate, you've got a rotten arse."
Wow.
And then the door of the main toilet closing quickly. Rob, I felt ashamed.
That's quite an achievement, Alex. You actually physically caused him to leave through pure disgust.
Yes, I did. I mean, it was bad. I mean, I was very ill.
That's astonishing. But congratulations.
Look at what I'm willing to do, Rob. I'm willing to, and this is what I'm willing to expose myself like this, all for the product that is this podcast.
Alex, the listeners love it when you debase yourself. So thank you for this. So Derby passengers apologised for breaking wind on a bus. The unknown person took to the Spotted Alveston Facebook page following the unfortunate incident earlier today. They wrote, "My apologies to the person on the bus. Sorry, to the people on the bus from the Blue Peter," which I'm assuming is a pub. Yes, a pub. To Derby this morning. I had 8 pints and a curry before bed last night. I had terrible flatulence and afraid one slipped out very noisily. 4 people turned around in their seats to look at me. To be fair, I felt like I was on The Voice. The post was published just before 10 a.m. Dozens have since liked or shared the post, with many responding with laughing emojis. That's it. That's the entire story.
Again, headline news there, straight from Derby. Thank you to Khyber for those. We really appreciate it, Rob, because, Rob, that sadly brings this episode of LA Podcast to a close, Rob. We do look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation, yet trepidation, to our next episode, which will be episode 292, Rob. I don't even know what to say as we move ever more forward, like what, Rob? I mean, we've had too much. As we move ever more forward, like...
A customer attempting to board a plane with two dogs, both dressed in matching tutus, but being turned away at the last minute. So they had to... I don't know how... I don't know.
Take them out for a nice 3-course meal, Rob, instead.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then home for spooning. Just like that, we move ever more forward to our next episode, which will be episode 292. Rob, we can be found on our website, lapodcast.net. From there, you can download all of our previous episodes. You can donate to this podcast on that website if you choose to. There's a PayPal button. I mean, think of it, you could leave us a tip if you like, or you could leave us a rolling sort of donation thing. Look, it would really help to keep this podcast afloat, but it's up to you. We are on we are on Spotify, we are on Facebook, facebook.com/LA Podcast, Twitter @LA Podcast. Go on to whatever podcast app you use, you can get us there, because we really want you to hit subscribe and leave us reviews. If you can do that, it would mean a lot to us. And of course, you want to submit us a story, you want to feature on this podcast, email us at lapodcast.net at gmail.com. That's lapodcast.net at gmail.com. Rob, I have no idea how much time we have left. I suspect it might not be a lot. I don't even know if we're going to have time to do this, but we have to spell anaesthetic according to a theme. Did you have any ideas for the theme?
Well, I was going to try and do a Halloween-themed one, but I don't know if that's going to prove too difficult. Sort of ghosts and ghouls, but I think that's going to be too
anything
difficult.
Halloween, anything supernatural themed.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Is that going to be too difficult?
Well, I liked when you said about the Blue Peter pub, I thought, what about if we just invent some pub names?
Oh, I'd love that idea. Let's do that.
Do you?
Yeah.
You're going to have to remind me of the letters. I can't remember them. So I'm starting off with that. So can each pub, because pub names generally start with the, don't they? So can it be the something?
No, yeah, or it can be a combination of things like I don't know, the dog and bathtub, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So can I start them off with the? I think it would make more sense. So
yeah,
A. Yeah. So anaesthetic. You spell anaesthetic like this. A. So the arrow and quiver.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you.
So
N.
The nut and squirrel.
Nice. Is it A again?
Yeah, again. Yeah, that's one. Yep.
The Aardvark.
Nice.
I'd go to a pub called the Aardvark.
Yeah, that's fair. The egg and spoon.
Oh! What's next, Rob?
S.
The sock and trouser.
Curious. I can imagine that's for that's
old
for
men.
Shoreditch type. Oh, I was going to go completely opposite. That sounds like for Shoreditch types.
Oh,
sounds
right, okay.
pretentious.
T.
Okay. Do you know I just had one.
I've got a good one.
Go on.
The Titanic and iceberg.
Very nice. Okay, I'll go with H then. Okay. The hat and blindfold.
Well, what's that about?
Yeah, exactly. Keeps you
All right,
guessing.
It does sound. I do want to go there. What's after that?
E again.
Struggling to even think of words beginning with E right now, Rob. You've got one there, haven't you? I can see it.
Well, only. I've got the start of one.
What's the start of it, and I'll finish it.
The elephant.
And tusk.
Very nice. Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
Okay. T. Well, I've got one here that I think would work quite well. I'm going to go for the train and station.
Very nice. Is it I now?
It is.
Okay, I've got one.
Okay.
The illustrious gentleman.
Very nice.
Now I'd go there. Come on.
And obviously, we have to finish on a high. So, as everyone...
The crab and cock!
You took it away from me. I was just going to go with the crab meat.
No,
or the crab and cock is better, I have to say.
We'll meet down the crab and cock tonight.
Oh, the crab and cockle!
The crab and cockle, absolutely. The fisherman's friend, Rob. It's where all the old seamen meet and, exchange for a frothy brew. On that note, we bring this podcast to a close, as I say. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We will be back next week. Hopefully my voice will be back to normal, but I'm sure you did all enjoy my deep, sort of dulcet tones. God bless.
And keep it local. Ooh, sexy.